we should probably have a talk. So Pyro is out on PTU, and there has been a lot of noise going on in the last couple of days in regards to the situation between PvP and Pyro. And today I wanted to talk to everybody a little briefly about what is going on, and hopefully after a brief discussion here, people will be able to see a little more clearly the options that they have to get the best experience that they can from Pyro. I think that there is a bit of a internal, I guess you could say, culture war going on within StarCitizen's community that I think we should probably address. And I've spent the last, hour and a half this morning going through a lot of responses and posts on Spectrum to try to understand different points of view so I could make an argument to help people, like I said, get the best experience they can in Pyro. I think it's no surprise that Pyro was met with a lot of enthusiasm and also a lot of dread. Now, a few months ago, I remember saying very clearly that the result of a lot of these changes and the way that CIG is designing their systems is from how they've tackled the PvP issue. Now, some people have arguments for private servers. Some people have arguments for adding sliders to when and where the player versus player content can happen. Some people have suggested that they should just pick up their money and their ships and leave the game forever, in a blaze of glory. And some have suggested that everyone who PvPs should have their accounts banned and never to return. And then, of course, you have some others in camps that say PvP is the only option and you either get good or die, GG scrub. Or there are others that say PvP is part of life, and so you can either, deal with it or stay in Stanton. And I think the reality is somewhere in between all of these things. The truth is, I have on this channel for many, many years, if you folks have been following, been saying the same thing year in and year out. And that is train, and train harder. Whether you are on the bounty hunter side of the spectrum or on the pirate side, the result of training and understanding your capabilities is the only option that you have in a lot of these situations. Now, I want to say that it is okay to be frustrated about PvP in Pyro. And a lot of people are walking into that situation unwillingly in Pyro, and it's giving people a sour taste in their mouth. They're getting killed at stations because, like I've said before, station turrets and the way the gunnery system is in this game is ineffective. They're getting killed at landing zones because there are no armistice zones, which I've always said people will just take the opportunity to shoot your stuff. They're getting killed at mission locations, which are the high risk, high reward contested zones, which the contested zone in its nature is designed this way. And they're getting killed in everywhere in between. And the arguments have been very visceral between a lot of different communities. The reality is flying around solo in Pyro is going to get you killed. End of story. Even myself, as much training as I have, am a sitting duck when I'm flying around Pyro by myself. The solo experience in StarCitizen has largely been gutted and removed because of master modes, and that's a topic for another time. But that is the current reality of the situation. So you can either make some friends and find some people to play with, or understand that your options are limited as a solo player. Now, I have been a huge fan that players should be given the incentive to want to play together, it is, at the end of the day, a massive online multiplayer game. And I think if you're a new person to Stanton or Pyro, that you should understand that flying together will not only enhance your experience with the game, but also open up a massive amount of options for you when it comes to gameplay and, I guess you could say, survivability and success. So for those of you folks out there who are playing by yourselves, take it upon yourselves to take the challenge of meeting other player groups, of going to the official StarCitizen Discord and just finding some people to fly with. People need to start, and I've said this before, find their tribe. You need to find your tribe. You need to find your squadron, find your group. And there's no better time to do it, because the amount of effort it takes to get an exceptional amount of success on the battlefield with master modes has never been lower. It takes only a limited amount of time, maybe a day or two, to really understand the mechanics of flight combat when you have access to fundamental or foundations playlists like here on the channel that gets you started from zero knowledge to enough to be effective on the field. There are other YouTube channels that are always educating and helping people, so take it upon yourself to train. This is part of the philosophy that if you're going to go into an area of space that is dangerous, you need to be prepared. And there are resources out there on the official website as well as YouTube that are going to help you get in that spot. So don't blame the game or the community if you're unsuccessful in Pyro, because you were the one that ultimately is responsible for whether or not you're going to be successful. And I don't want to poo-poo or push down people that want to have a good experience with PvE as well. You need to understand, folks, that StarCitizen will always be a sandbox experience, which means there's going to be lots of exciting things to do, player versus environment side, and also player versus player side. And the access to this content will be much more free form. It's going to be much more open. It's just going to happen even sometimes when you don't expect it. So you need to expect the unexpected. You need to be ready for when these things happen. It could be as simple as keeping one person on board a ship as a getaway ship, having more crew members available for more flexibility, training hard to understand that sometimes when you do get into an engagement, it's going to end up in a fight. And also knowing what you can take and what you can't take. I think that's an important distinction here, is as you train and get better with the game, you'll start to understand what kinds of engagements are worth taking and which ones you need to disengage from. And this only comes through playtime. If you find yourself spending more time on Spectrum and less time playing the game, perhaps it's not beneficial to spend too much time talking about it and not enough time playing it. You're going to have a much better experience with StarCitizen by playing the experience with other people. So get out there and find your tribe. It makes all the difference. We've heard it time and time again. StarCitizen is an alpha game. And although everything is subject to change, and mostly for the better, we need to also understand that the core philosophy of StarCitizen has never changed. It has always been and will always be a game where groups of people get together and have adventures. You need to understand that the dangers that you will face out there largely come from other players. So you can either become the victim and blame the company in the game, or understand that the core philosophy of the experience is to group up together and have an experience like no other. I can tell you from experience, actively participating in PvP all the time, that it really does expand your horizons. It changes the dynamic of the game so much, and in such a positive way. It's something that I'd love every one of you folks who are watching this video to experience. So if you find yourself more staying on the side of PvE, just try getting out there, finding a crew of people, and have an experience like no other. It's in PTU, folks, and it's also in alpha development. Nothing really matters. You have nothing to lose but getting out there and having some fun and doing something incredible. There is no other game out there like this. And although 4.0 has a lot of issues, it's just so much fun. It really truly is. And it's always going to be getting better. My message to all of you folks was clear and simple and has never changed. I just wanted to reiterate these points because there's a lot of people out there who are, I guess you could say, denying themselves an incredible experience because they hold too many thoughts and ideas that are dogmatic, and their minds have not been open to the possibilities that they could be having because they expect the game to be specifically what they want and not embracing the game that is right there in front of them. If you'd like to come join us on stream, or you'd like these talks, please consider subscribing and joining us every day at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube and on Twitch. As always, thank you so much for everyone who's listening. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. My name is Avenger1, and I'll see you next time.